Hey folks, Eric Bray, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock Lake. It is Tuesday, December the 19th. Not on the water as much last week. It was only on the water about 4 days last week, so things are starting to slow down. A lot of holiday stuff going on, and the weather's been a little bit dicey. I'm booked pretty much the rest of the week, all the way through Saturday, depending on the weather, because it looks like we're going to have a pretty massive cold front come in towards the end of the week. Chance of some cold rain and whatnot, so we'll see. But I've been on the water both Sunday and yesterday, catching some fish. Things are happening, things are moving. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are right at 912, which puts us 3 feet down, 3 feet below normal pool for this time of year. Corps of Engineers has been running a lot of water, pretty much constant generation for the last 2 weeks. Not exactly sure why. Haven't done a whole lot of investigation into it, but the lake is down about 3 feet, so be careful. There are some things sticking up out of the water right now that weren't sticking up out of the water 2 weeks ago, so be careful if you're running, especially if you're cutting across points. There are some stumps that you can hit that you couldn't hit 2 weeks ago. As far as our water temperature is concerned, it is starting to drop. Yesterday, water temperature was right around 53 degrees most of the day. It started off at about 53.5. Got off the water about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was about 54, 55. So it is starting to drop, and we are starting to see the fish move. We are starting to see the fish group up a little bit better than they were even just a week ago. But if you guys are coming down, say you're going to fish the lower end of the lake, there's a lot of ways to catch fish all over the lake, even on the lower end. Still my best bite, my most consistent bite, especially if you want to look at numbers of fish, has been a deep bite. Drop shot has been my number one bait as far as, or number one pattern as far as targeting these fish. Most of the fish we're finding right now are on the main lake, or in the bigger creek arms, on the flat points and flats and humps off of islands. Most of them are anywhere from about 30 to about 55 feet deep. They seem to be pretty well glued to the bottom. Unless a school of shad happens by, then they'll come up off the bottom. Or if you hook one, you'll see them come up off the bottom. We're catching a lot of fish on a drop shot rig right now. Shad shape worm's still really a key bait. Cut tail worm's working really well. The new UV finesse, or the UV drop shot worm, and the Chomper's drop shot worm. All those are working. Again, most of those fish are, I'm going to say 30 to 55 feet deep on those gravel flats, on those gravel points, on those gravel humps. We are catching a few out of the trees back in the creeks, but with this much water being run right now, a lot of the shad that were working their way back into the creeks have been drawn out into the main lake. That's why the main lake and the bigger creek arms seem to be better than back in the creeks right now. We are starting to catch a few on a crankbait. Crankbait bite is getting progressively better. You get some of these windy days, like we've had a few windy days over the weekend. It was pretty windy yesterday, but we spent most of the day drop shotting. But you can catch them on a crankbait. Wigglewort, rock crawler, the new 6 cents curve 55, all those are working right now. Look for those fish to be anywhere from about 6 to about 12 foot deep on those channel swing banks. On those transitions in the channel swing banks is really the key area. It's not the sort of thing where you can go down a 100-yard stretch of bank and catch a limit of fish, but you can catch fish a lot better on a crankbait right now than you could even a week ago. Jig bite is still strong, still doing really well with the Jewel Pro Spider jig. Doing a little bit better with the 7/16 and the 5/16 than I was last week. Okeechobee Blue is still my best color. Catching them on green pumpkin candy and catching them on peanut butter and jelly. And still doing better with a Zoom Speed Craw as a trailer than any other trailer. Basically matching that up with a green pumpkin or green pumpkin candy trailer. Little orange doesn't hurt on the pinchers, but not really necessary. Most of the jig fish are still coming off those ledgy type banks and those transition type banks where you'll have a stair-step ledge and you'll pull it from one ledge down to another. A lot of those fish are smallmouth, but we have caught a few decent largemouth doing that as well. Go up into Kimberling City, deep bite is still really good up there as well. A lot of fish on those gravel runouts, on those gravel points, doing best with the drop shot again. Shad shape worm, cut tail worm, Chomper's drop shot worm, UV drop shot worm, all those worms are working right now. Have been catching a few more once you get into that little bit dirtier, a little bit more stained water on a scuba spoon. The ice bait bite has been really weird though. Seems like one day you'll catch them on an ice bait, the next day they'll swim away from it when you drop it down to them. So I think we need that water temperature to drop about another 5 to 10 degrees, and that ice bait bite will really start to take off. But we are catching them on a scuba spoon as well. Same sort of depth, a little bit shallower, 25 to about 45 feet deep. And again, most of them are on those gravel flats and runouts. A few of them in the trees, but most of them are on those gravel flats. And they are basically glued to the bottom. Drop it to the bottom, hop it a couple of times, shake it with a drop shot rig. You'll have a fish come up and hit it, set the hook on that fish, and more of them will come up. And usually when they come up, you can catch 2 or 3 before they settle back down. Crankbait bite's pretty strong in the Kimberling City area as well. A lot of those channel swing banks, especially in the bigger creeks like Cow Creek, Fisher Creek, Schooner Creek, those bigger creek arms have been starting to see a lot more fish come up on a crankbait, either a wiggle wart, rock crawler, curve 55. All those have been working. Same sort of depth, 5 to 6 foot deep out to about 10 or 12 foot deep. Channel swings and then transition areas on those channel swings have been really key. Again, we're not loading the boat on it, but on a windy day, you can put together a decent limit throwing a crankbait if you throw it all day long. And then the jig bite. Jig bite continues to be strong, 7/16 or 5/16 Jewel Pro Spider jig, Okeechobee blue, green pumpkin candy, watermelon candy, all good colors. Matching that up with a green pumpkin, zoom speed craw on those ledgy banks, on those transition areas, and even some around the boat docks. If you get a sunny day, you can catch several on boat docks as well. Go up into the James, and the crankbait bite is definitely strongest up the James. Seems like that's where you can catch good numbers on a crankbait. And again, they're on those transition areas near the channel swings, more or less parallel on the bank, anywhere from about 5 to 10 feet deep, working it down the bank. And basically, wind will help you, but you're basically parallel on the bank. Wiggle wart, rock crawler, curve 55, all those are working. Cast it parallel to the bank. Maintaining bottom contact is key. And I've been doing a little bit better if I run it into something and pause it for a second, just working along, hit a stump, hit a rock or something, stop it for a second before I start taking off again. A lot of my bites are coming when I pause that bait. Jig bite's strong up there as well. The 5/16, 7/16 Jewel Pro Spider jig, again, they're on those ledgier type, stair step type banks, anywhere from about, I'd say 8 to about 15, even some as deep as 20 on sunny days or sunny afternoons, but it really seems like they're less than 15 foot deep on those ledgy type banks, both on the main lake and in the creek arms. Working that thing down off of those ledges, and again, matching that up with a zoom speed cross seems to be my best trailer on that. Have been catching a few on a deep bite. Get a little bit further down, around Ants Creek, maybe up to about point 12. We have been catching a few on a drop shot and a scuba spoon, especially in that dirtier water. Again, they're on those gravel flats, those gravel runouts, off of the islands, that sort of thing. Catching those fish anywhere from about 25 to 45 feet deep, and they're glued to the bottom just like they are in the rest of the lake. Go up into the White, and the White River continues to be really strong. Basically, how do you want to catch fish up the White River? Good deep bite up the White River. Gravel points, gravel flats, have started to see some, especially when you get up a ways up the White River, started to see some show up a little bit more in the creek arms, in those trees, in the guts of the creeks. But again, with this much water being run through the lake, those shad are getting pulled out into the main lake, so the main lake bite is definitely better. Definitely better on those gravel humps, those gravel runouts, those long gravel points and gravel flats, anywhere from about 25 to about 45 feet deep. Glued to the bottom just like they are everywhere else unless shad are in the area. And we're just dropping that thing, dropping a drop shot down. Shad shape worm, cut tail worm, Chomper's drop shot worm, UV drop shot worm, all those baits are working it slowly along the bottom, and you'll get one fish to bite, and then the bottom will blow up and you can catch several on it. So there is a good drop shot bite. Scuba spoon's been pretty strong up there as well. Seems like once I get around the Kings River where the water's got maybe a little bit more color with this rain that we had, I am catching a few more on the scuba spoon. So same locations, gravel runouts, gravel points, gravel flats, gravel humps, anywhere from about 25 to about 45, even 50 foot deep, and just working it fairly close to the bottom, getting a few fish on that. Catching them on a crankbait up there too. Wiggle wart, rock crawler, curve 55, all those are working. Again, we're basically parallel on those steeper banks, channel swings, transitions in the channel swings, anywhere from about 5 to about 15 foot deep, and catching quite a few fish doing that. It seems like that crankbait bite's a little bit better up the White River and up the Kings River. The Kings River certainly has a better crankbait bite than just about anywhere else on the lake. And then the jig bite, 5/16, 7/16 Jewel Pro Spider jig. Okeechobee Blue's been my strongest color, just like it is all over the lake, but green pumpkin candy's working, peanut butter and jelly's working, and then matching that up with a Speed Craw has been my best trailer up there. Again, they seem to be on those stair-step, ledgy type banks and the transitions around those, and just working it slowly off of those ledges, catching them anywhere from 5 to 20, some of them as deep as 25, but really haven't had to fish that deep with a jig lately. Guys, it is the week before Christmas, so Merry Christmas, because I won't do another video till after Christmas. Been a good year, catching a lot of fish. We're still catching a lot of fish. Got a busy week this week, but you know, after Christmas, starting into the new year, things are going to slow down a little bit, and we are still running those winter rates. You know, we're going to be catching fish. That deep bite's going to get stronger. Crankbait bite's going to get stronger. Stick bite's going to kick off. If we get some cold weather, like they're calling, you know, the forecast is like throwing darts at a map. I've heard that a dozen times this week from weather forecasters. But anyway, they are calling for some colder weather next week and the first week in January. If that does happen, we get our lake temperatures down in the 40s, we'll start to see that crankbait bite really take off. We'll really start to see a stickbait bite start to take off. So if you guys want to learn how to fish deep, want to learn how to fish a stickbait, want to learn how to fish a crankbait, January will be a great time to come. The water is going to cool down, but as we usually do, we get a lot of days in the 40s and 50s in January, so it's a great time to come and fish. Basically don't have to get out there at the crack of dawn. We can get out there at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning once it's had time to warm up and still catch some fish. So if you guys are thinking about coming down, remember we're running winter rates all the way through February. Save 50 bucks on a guide trip. If you're thinking about coming down, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. Shoot me an email, book online. Either way, we will get you hooked up. We'll figure out the best dates and times to get out there, get out and catch some fish, maybe learn a little something. Remember, we are still running our gift certificates on sale till Christmas. So all the way till midnight Christmas Day. We can email those to you if you guys want to get somebody a fishing trip for Christmas. Get on the website and you can do that. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. We're up over 2,500 subscribers. We're over 500,000 views. I really appreciate all that. But thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.